Hello and welcome to this special fireside chat discussion with Dr. Rajendra Kumar. Dr. Kumar is 92 batch IS officer of Tamil Nadu cadre, currently serving as the additional secretary in Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. Dr. Kumar, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the discussion.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Let me begin, Dr. Kumar, by asking you what we have observed over the last two years. We have faced an unprecedented pandemic that has forced lockdown across all parts of the country. And in these lockdown, what we realized that some of the technological platform under Digital India program and under some of the state government program, including the smart cities, that we have been able to set up in the past, those technological platform came as a great boon. And that really helped both the central government as well as the state government in mitigating the challenge. What have been your assessments, sir?
Yes, so we have all seen the adverse effects of the pandemic on our economy, on the people's daily livelihoods, etc. But I'm happy to also state here that because of our very robust ICT infrastructure and the applications that we have developed in the past, those served very well the requirements of the government departments and the businesses during this time of pandemic. Let me just mention a few examples as to how our ICT infrastructure and the applications have helped us during these difficult times. For the government departments, we had developed earlier the e-office application, which was meant to automate the entire functioning of the government departments, the offices, in terms of electronic files and the working on the files through the online mechanism. So that served very well the requirements of the government during the times of pandemic when there were lockdowns and people were not able to come to offices. So all the government departments could function without any hindrance because we had the e-office application available for all the government officials. Also, the entire communication infrastructure, including our internet infrastructure and the telecom networks, they functioned without any problems during the entire pandemic, during even the severe lockdowns that we had. And that again helped the people and the businesses to really conduct their businesses effectively and allow the people to work from home. Most of the applications in banking, for example, and other sectors, they functioned without any problems during the entire period of lockdown, etc. So the robust ICT backbone that we have created and the applications in various domains, they have helped the people, the government, the private businesses to really function effectively without any major difficulties during the entire lockdown.
Right. You're absolutely right. We also observed that with the help of technology, the business continuity plan of both the enterprises as well as the public sector organization went quite smoothly. And there were a lot of innovation. Also, the digital transformation agenda of both enterprise as well as the government organization accelerated during the pandemic. Now I'll move to Digital India because for you, this is the second instant in the ministry and you have seen the digital locker mobile seva project. For mobile seva project, even there was award from UN, e-Parman, and there was also a lot of focus on promotion of Indian languages in e-governance, which has really now Indic language has become a de facto part of our e-governance program across different states. In that light, I would like to understand what new are we expecting in Digital India from a policy point of view or from an architecture point of view? Anything new that we are going to do? Because we know Digital India is already a platformerization. You already have a GST, UPI, UID, and on these highways, there are a lot of things can happen.
Yes, I was part of the earlier Digital India program, which was launched in 2015. And that time, the idea was to ensure that our ICT infrastructure, the digital services to people, and the capacity building those were taken to a much higher level. And those three were the main focus areas in the plan when it was launched in 2015. During the last 6 years now, we have done a lot of work in all these three major areas. And I'm happy to mention here that today we have a very strong and robust ICT infrastructure. Digital services also have really covered now almost all the domains that we can think of from both the government departments at the central level and the state governments. And in terms of capacity building, also we have made major strides in really making people digitally literate and giving them access to the application, etc., through a very wide network of common service centers across the entire country, and through the more accessible channels like mobile platform.
Right.
Now, at this point of time, if you look towards future, then I think one major area where we need to really do a lot of work is to bring all the diverse applications in various domains together on a common platform.
Right.
As you mentioned rightly, that platform concept is a very transformative concept at this point of time, where the idea is to bring the diverse applications within one domain onto one common seamless interface, so that the citizens and businesses can avail various services without having to navigate through multiple websites using multiple credentials, etc., which are difficult for anyone to really remember and make use of. So that's one major area where we are seeing a lot of developments, and we are working now with various government departments to really make this concept a reality. One example of this is already visible in the healthcare domain, where the National Digital Health Mission was launched in August 2020 by our Honorable Prime Minister, where the plan is to give one unique digital health ID to every citizen in the country, and to make the healthcare services, both from the government and the private domains, available through a common single digital interface. That's one example of platform approach
Right.
towards transforming the government services. We are now working in other domains like education, agriculture, to really implement this concept of public digital platforms in those domains. So that's one clear area for development in the time to come at this juncture for the Digital India program.
Right.
The other areas which are important from the point of view of the evolution of this entire Digital India program is to ensure that we bring digital trust or confidence in the stakeholders to be really able to make effective use of the cyberspace. So we are now focusing on advanced capabilities in cybersecurity domain. We are training government departments, their frontline IT officials in cybersecurity. They're also working in creating awareness in this domain for the common people and for all the other government officials, so that they are able to use the cyberspace in a safe and secure way. And that major area for evolution is the digital economy, where the vision is to make India the global hub for electronics and chip manufacturing, where we would be able to take advantage of the growing demand for electronics in the country, and where we could really achieve the goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat, or Make in India, in this major domain, where we currently are importing most of our electronics and chip requirements. So these are the major area for development for Digital India.
Absolutely. I think four things very important you mentioned. One is capacity building. Other is platform, integrating the different platform on a single console to give a single access for a government services. Also creating digital trust, which is really important, and also making all of these a part of a holistic growth of the economy. So I'll begin asking on the capacity building part, because what happened, the thing that you pushed initially, either as a national e-governance division program or Digital India program later on, that has created some level of capacity building across the country. there is a SEMT team, AGM under NEGD. Then some of the state like Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, I mean all of the state, I'm just taking two names. They have created their own a kind of IT cadre under MAP IT or JAP IT initiative, and they are able to build, for example, in West Bengal Rebel, they are able to build quality applications, quality IT resources. Earlier, they did not have that kind of expertise. So what that has really created today, they have created a kind of very healthy competition between STPI, NIC, state corporation. So how do you look at this? Because many a times, if you have to, let's say, push e-cabinet or e-Pargati or e-office, you have to now pitch. That was not the case 10 years ago.
Yes, in fact, the entire efforts towards improving the state's capabilities in the IT domain, it started more than a decade ago, where MeitY made efforts to recruit the state e-mission teams and place it in those states, in all the states. And that has helped in making this entire movement towards capacity building a very effective one across the entire country. And today we are seeing that many states, they have formed their own teams at the state level to really take this entire efforts towards e-governance and other IT focused projects to a new level. And because of the increasing capabilities in the IT space at the state level, now we are seeing very significant initiatives being undertaken by states themselves to really improve the interface of service delivery through online applications and to ensure that the ease of living for the citizens and ease of doing business for the businesses, they are improved to the maximum extent possible. We are very actively working with the states all the time, continuously during the entire past 10 years or more, to ensure that we can really improve the capabilities across the entire spectrum to enhance the experience for the citizens and businesses when they interact with the government. So that's the major goal that we have been able to achieve because of the efforts that we have taken towards capacity building and improving the trust of the citizens in using the online interface for obtaining services.
Right, right. Earlier, you were mentioning about creating a single platform wherein people, and Umang is one of the example actually, where a lot of services have been put in one app and people can go and access. They don't have to go to different places. But when you look at the platform like GSTN, like UPI, like UIDI, these are mammoth platform. I mean, in today's time, they themselves are huge. I mean, isn't it quite challenging to bring such a huge platform in a single console? How do you look at it? Some of the smaller service, obviously, we can do that. The bigger one will be quite challenging, isn't it?
Yes, so let me, explain the entire concept with an example. I talked about the National Digital Health Mission. So if you see the current healthcare scenario in India, in the digital space, there are multiple websites even for the Government of India Health Ministry. And also all the states also have their own online mechanisms for people to really find information about healthcare facilities, about the hospitals, for example, about doctors, etc. So the goal that we have set for ourselves is to bring these diverse interfaces onto a common seamless interface through both front end and back end integration. And in this endeavor, we have some common platforms that we are able to make use of. For example, we have the unified payment interface. We have the unified identity platform, the Aadhaar platform, and we have the unified banking interface. So all these platforms, which are in the nature of common platforms for technology, they are technology enablers in the sense of allowing the front-end applications to be able to work seamlessly. So using all these platforms which already are available, we can weave the diverse applications into a common seamless interface for citizens and businesses to avail these services without having to navigate through multiple front-end applications, through multiple channels, through multiple credentials for logging in or passwords. So that is just one example of how these platforms can really be made a reality. And similar things, similar concepts also hold true for domains like education, where again, if you scan the ecosystem now, you would find a large number of applications which are operating in silos, and they again require the users to navigate through multiple interfaces. So there again, for the same person, if we can give them common credentials for navigating through the sites, and if we can bring all these sites, different sites which are now in existence, onto one single interface, that would make life so much easier for everyone, and for all the students and other stakeholders to really be able to use the online medium much more effectively. So that's the idea, and we are working currently with all the government departments to make this entire vision a reality.
On the digital trust part that you earlier mentioned, digital trust comes from few things. One is as to how you are processing data, as to how you're using data, and if there's something goes wrong, what kind of policy you have to safeguard those things. In all three things, India is working. So already a week back, there was a statement for the IT secretary that we are going to revisit the IT Act, which was set up in 2008 and amended in 2000 in 20. So the new thing has come into system. So there may be some revisit on the IT Act. Okay. Also, there is something happening on the personal data protection bill, which is already pending in the parliament. So once that is formalized, possibly we will have a greater clarity as to how data should be processed and data should be used, right? And third is the cyber security. How robust your IT infrastructure in terms of the security. So I would like to ask from the IT Act part, what kind of changes we can bring into IT Act that can make it more robust? Did you ever apply your mind?
Yeah, thank you. So as you rightly mentioned, these are very vital areas for future developments in the cyber domain in India. And data economy or data governance is a very vital part of the emerging digital economy scenario in the country. So data economy, we feel, is going to be the foundation of the future growth of the entire IT sector, not only for the mainstream IT sector, but also for almost all the other domains in the economy and all domains in governance. And to ensure that we have a very sustainable data economy and a data governance regime, the legal framework that we have envisaged, that is put in place as quickly as possible. The Personal Data Protection Bill, which is now in the Parliament at an advanced stage of consideration, that is a key pillar of this entire legal framework that we have envisaged for the country. And with this PDP bill coming into effect, we believe that we would have the world's most advanced and most contemporaneous data governance regime in India, which would allow the IT businesses, the government departments, to handle the personal data of citizens in a much more responsible manner. So at present, the data handling is being done, but we don't have a legal framework for data handling now. So that issue would get addressed. This will also help the IT sector in India to to get more business from abroad, because we would have a legal system in place for data handling, which is now being seen as a key requirement by many countries in Europe and other geographies to be able to allow their businesses to send data to India. So once we have the data adequacy, that issue will get addressed. We also are working now on the IT Act amendments, which again are vital for supporting the emergence of a very competitive IT sector in India. The goal is to bring the entire legal framework that was put in place through the IT Act in 2000 to bring them on par with the latest international concepts in the IT space. For example, the entire intermediary framework, the entire data handling concepts, the entire cybersecurity space, they all need new thinking in terms
Right.
of legal provisions. And that is the, attempt that we are currently now undertaking in the department to ensure that the IT Act is also brought on par with the latest legal provisions in the IT domain.
Which is really needed. And I think once we are actually, as you mentioned, that thinking about the digital economy and the dream of the Prime Minister to build a 5 trillion economy, and within that 5 trillion, the digital, that as the Minister has said, 1 trillion should come from digital. So obviously this pillar has to be put in place. Now I'll move to a very interesting part, which is cyber security. And what we have noticed last week that India's global cybersecurity index has moved 37 up. So now we are in the top 10 countries where the cybersecurity robustness is there, right? So that means something very good we would have done down the line in last 2 years or 3 years. Would you like to share as to what really has happened in the cybersecurity domain? And we also noticed other day the national coordinator for cybersecurity saying that the government is now really thinking to bring cybersecurity framework or policy, a legal kind of framework under the data protection umbrella soon. So that means we'll have more legal more legal as well as a kind of framework in place to deal with the cybersecurity cases.
Yeah, so I'm happy to note that you mentioned about the India's improved standing internationally in cybersecurity domain. So we have now come into the top 10 nations in the world in terms of our cybersecurity posture, which is a testimony to our advanced capabilities in cybersecurity domain internationally. The efforts that METI has taken in the last couple of years to really bring about this massive transformation in our entire cybersecurity posture has been on multiple fronts. For example, within METI, we have strengthened our organizations like CERTIN and also our cybersecurity division to deal with the emerging threat perception in this domain at both individual level, at systemic level, and at the level of organizations. For example, cyber safety is aimed at ensuring that the individual level, people are aware about the cyber hygiene and the safe practices to follow when they interact in the cyber space. At the level of organizations, we have ensured that the frontline IT officials within government departments and the private sector, they are given advanced training in cybersecurity practices to ensure that their own IT systems and applications are safe. And at a systemic level, we have taken efforts to ensure that our ICT systems in various domains, for example, power or healthcare or other infrastructure sectors, they are made as safe and secure as possible. And on the legal front, as I mentioned, we have moved very significantly in terms of putting in place a very robust legal framework. We have the PDP bill coming in, and we have the non-personal data framework also being drafted now. And I'm sure that once these bills they become a law, then we would have even more credentials as a very advanced nation in the domain of cybersecurity. So as a result of these measures, we have been recognized internationally now as a major country in the top 10 ahead of many other developed nations in the field of cybersecurity. And we hope to really continue to strengthen our capabilities in cybersecurity domain in the time to come. And we would really hope to move even further up in terms of our standing internationally in this area.
Dr. Kumar, thank you so much for your time. You spoke quite well on as to how technology helped during pandemic. Some of the initiatives that are being taken under Digital India program to make it more robust, agile, and scalable. and also some of the policy initiative that we are taking in order to create more trust in digital, in order to make our digital economy more robust, scalable, and more profitable for and more growth oriented for the country. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you.